So it's finally official. We now know what VeChain is working on, because remember in one of my last videos when it comes to VeChain, I made a video talking about how they were going to be planning to announce something, but now we know what it is. And it's allegedly something called Agent Suite. I'll talk about why this could maybe transform VeChain moving forward, even though I first want to clarify, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and nothing I say is financial advice. Now here's the thing, Agent Suite. Basically, they've been working on this, and it's of course focused on AI, but basically it's a new no-code platform from VeChain that basically lets individuals turn their personal knowledge and experience into a specialized AI agent that can, in theory, be hired by others. Now, let me just give an example as to why this could maybe become revolutionary for the future of VeChain. Because if we think about it, usually when it comes to regular AI like ChatGPT and stuff like that, people consider it a little bit more generic. That's what some people consider. Agent Suite, it kind of flips the script a little bit, because what it does is that it allows individuals to create an AI version of their expertise. Because let's say someone is a very skilled chef, or let's say they're a very good mechanic, or maybe they're a very experienced contractor. They can kind of create their own version of that, their own version of their expertise, and then it can be hired by others. So that's pretty impressive. Imagine that. Isn't that pretty amazing in a sense? I mean, this is the stuff that VeChain is doing, keep in mind. I mean, they're trying to revolutionize things. And I think this, if anything, is a clear graduation of VeChain, especially when it comes to its focus when it comes to AI. Let me explain what I mean by this. VeChain historically is known for a project that is focused on supply chain management, right? But now we really see this major emphasis and push towards AI. So I think it's a clear graduation that they haven't forgotten about what they did when it comes to supply chain management. They're still focused on that, but AI is just that next step. You know what I mean? It's just that next step that VeChain is taking to really kind of spread its presence. It's like, for instance, before it had its bachelor's degree, very impressive. But now, VeChain, when it comes to AI, it's focused on getting the master's degree. That's the thing. I don't have a master's degree. I only have a bachelor's degree, but I'm saying VeChain, it seems like they're getting their master's degree now by being focused when it comes to AI, and especially Agent Suite. That's something they're working on. That could maybe, I think, transform just VeChain in a totally different way. Will it see the best adoption out there of all time? Probably not initially. It might take quite a while. Who knows? But at least this is what they're doing. So I like it. Now, not to mention as well, people like to say, oh, but VeChain, it can't handle AI adoption. What makes you think it can handle that? Well, I like to point none other than to the VeChain Thor blockchain. Now, people like to underestimate this because they say, oh, Solana is cooler. Oh, Ethereum is cooler and all this. Okay, I get it. But it doesn't change the fact that the VeChain Thor blockchain historically has showcased pretty impressive reliability. If I told someone, hey, you know what, ever since 2018, this specific blockchain had 0 network outages. If I just don't even name anything specific, if I just use that as an example, I think a lot of people would be like, oh wow, that's pretty impressive. Ever since 2018, that's like 8 years ago. That's so legendary. But guess what? The VeChain Thor blockchain, ever since 2018, 0 network outages. But suddenly when it comes to the VeChain Thor blockchain, people consider it so boring and all this. Well, if it wasn't named, right, if we don't say what it is, why is it considered impressive? But then suddenly if I say it's VeChain Thor, they say, oh, it's really bad and all this. I don't agree with that. I still think it's pretty impressive. And not to mention, if we take a look at VeChain Thor at its core, right, being that reliable is a big bonus and a big benefit, I think, to a lot of AI developers out there, because clearly they want something that is reliable. Why would they want something that's not? And that right there is exactly one of the main features of the VeChain Thor blockchain. And here's the thing. When it comes to VeChain Thor, initially, it just felt like it was a little bit underutilized in my opinion, because something that amazing, something that was well built like that, and then only being used for supply chain management, I thought it was a little bit of an underutilization of something that is pretty impressive. But because VeChain Thor was so over-engineered, it's able to maybe handle, hypothetically, AI adoption. So that's the thing. It was so over-engineered in the first place, it's to the point that it can pivot from supply chain management to AI, if that kind of makes sense. It's like, for instance, if a building is intended to be built, let's say they just put the foundation first, and they, for whatever reason, made the foundation be able to hold a 100-story building in just a random hypothetical make-believe scenario. If that is the case, what happens? It means that in theory, this foundation can handle up to 100 floors, right? But it also, in theory, could mean that it can handle 20 floors, 30 floors, 40 floors, because 100 floors is allegedly the capacity, and 30 floors is still way lower than that. So that's the thing. The VeChain Thor blockchain, in my opinion, feels like it's so over-engineered to the point that, sure, initially maybe the thought of supply chain management was in mind, but because it was so over-engineered, it can just handle a lot more things. And we're kind of seeing that in the case of their AI pivot, I should say, at least in a very public way. So I do like seeing this. And again, people like to say, wow, VeChain, it's doing really bad. Okay, I understand that. But if I take a look at it, just logically speaking, the market cap as of right now is around 420 million. When did we see this? Keep in mind, we saw this market cap when it comes to VeChain back in 2020. So let's just let that sink in. These are levels that was seen around 6 years ago, and we're back at that point again. Yet, as of right now, VeChain is better, in my opinion. Take a look at the Hayabusa upgrade, take a look at Stargate, not to mention their recent very massive push when it comes to AI. It's just a lot better, in my opinion, than 2020. Yet, we're at 2020 levels. Wow. I mean, I'm not going to complain when it comes to that because I like the dip anyways. I don't mind the dip. That's the thing. I like it for dollar cost averaging reasons. But I'm just saying, this is pretty surprising because we're seeing 2020 levels in 2026. Need I remind people as well that back in May of 2025, so it's not even really a good time anyways when it comes to VeChain, again, May of last year, so around a year ago, did you know that the market cap was around 2.5 billion at that time? So now we're almost 6 times lower than that. Wow. So we're almost 6 times lower than a point in which we once were just last year. If VeChain could just go back to there, keep in mind, that's not even considered a good time for VeChain. Like, people like to say, wow, 2.5 billion, that's such an impossible thing when it comes to VeChain. Not really. We saw that back in May of last year. If we take a look at it, did you know that back in 2021, the market cap was almost 14 billion? So really, 2.5 billion is like not even that massive at all. And yet we're almost 6 times lower than that. I mean, what the? That's just kind of my mindset. Could VeChain go back there though? We'll wait and see, but May of last year is not a good time when it comes to, VeChain. If we think about it, we saw even around a 2.5 billion market cap back in 2023. So it's not really a good time when it comes to VeChain anyways, but we're so low when compared to that point. It's to the, I guess, extent where I'm just like, if it could just maybe go back there, I'm going to Sizzler, the restaurant, to kind of celebrate. Maybe. But yeah, we'll wait and see. However, again, VeChain officially announcing that they're working on something called Agent Suite. That was a big thumbs up for me, and I think it was a kind of a big reveal that kind of showcased that VeChain, maybe they're still cooking. But I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day.